In this episode of Detroit Performs, a Michigan student studies in New York. A holiday classic takes over the halls of a beautiful mansion. And a master of funk gets his community moving. It's all ahead on this edition of Detroit Performs.
Funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Detroit Performs. I'm your host, DJ Oliver, and I'm at the National Historic Landmark Meadowbrook Hall. Built by Matilda Dodge Wilson between 1926 and 1929, this hall now welcomes more than 70,000 visitors each year to participate in tours, educational programs, and more. Later in the episode, we have a segment that shows off one very special event. But first, University of Michigan's Musical Society is offering internships to a select few of its undergraduates. Students are sent all over the world to work with world-renowned artists. Next up, we follow one of the students as she works on her craft.
In 2014, UMS and the University of Michigan School of Music, Theater, and Dance collaborated on a new internship program for students studying performing arts at the University of Michigan called the 21st Century Artist Internship. The internship embeds each student with a performance company that UMS will present on its artistic season in Ann Arbor in the following year. This year, UMS and the School of Music, Theater, and Dance sent 4 students on 4 separate journeys. Floris Kamatu traveled to Paris to work with Théâtre de la Ville, Libby Seidner to San Francisco to work with the San Francisco Symphony, Hilary Koistra to New York City to work with the Trisha Brown Dance Company, and lastly, Sophia Deary also traveled to New York City to work with Kyle Abraham's dance company, Abraham in Motion.
This internship is providing me with an opportunity to go and realize a dream that I often felt was close to me because I needed to spend my summers, earning money, and I felt like arts internships, which are usually unpaid, were something that I couldn't afford to do. Everything is so new and exciting to me. You've got New York, which is one dream, and then you have a professional dance company, which is something I have been dreaming about since I have been so little, and then it's a real job. I mean, it's arts administration, which is a dream, is making the arts sort of as a career seem like a reality to me. I just remember arriving with 2 huge rolling duffel bags and figuring out how to get a cab and how to get to my random loft apartment that I was sketchily renting in Brooklyn. I was living in this tiny little room under a staircase, but I didn't care. I was so tired, so I passed out for a couple hours. And then I got a call from Liz Sargent, who was she's the production manager for Abraham in Motion. She said, "Can you come in this evening and we can have you assist rehearsal?" I have just gotten here. I don't know, I've never used the subway before, so I went to the New York Live Arts offices for the first time, and by 5 p.m. on my first day, I was sitting next to Kyle running the music for a rehearsal of The Watershed. For my first 2 weeks, the company was actually in New York rehearsing, so I was able to be, sitting right next to him while he was teaching new choreography or editing what he had, or I was present during a photo shoot, which was fascinating to see for the Village Voice. And also when Robert Glasper came in, I was able to meet him and see the piece performed to the live music, which was amazing. I then had this whole other side of my internship where I was learning about fundraising and organization and lots of Excel spreadsheets. I never want to see another Google Doc again. Just kidding. So I really learned the administrative side of an arts organization, which as a performer I had never done before. They really were these are the days you work for us, and then the rest of the time, go, do your thing. And so I was able to take dance classes at Broadway Dance Center, Steps on Broadway, Perry Dance, Gibney Dance, as well as see some Broadway shows. I rushed tickets to Cabaret. which we're actually doing now here at University of Michigan, and I am in. So not only was I being inspired during my internship with Kyle, but also I would come home at night and there was like one of my former roommates was a puppeteer for Saturday Night Live. Two other ones were, documentary filmmakers. Another one was a fashion designer. And so we had all these really young people just living in this giant space in Williamsburg, and it was the coolest group of people to get to hang out with. Apart from moving to New York, the second thing I was most nervous about was the company's visit here, because Abraham in Motion did a residency, like a week-long series of workshops and classes, and in addition to 2 performances, and then school day performances, which were shortened versions of the evening-length performances. So to get ready, I was in charge of this one event at the Trotter House Multicultural Center, which is a center on campus where like the Multi-Ethnic Student Association hosts events. And I was put in contact with one of their student leaders, and we coordinated a improv workshop to talk about identity through movement with dancer Jeremy J. Neal of Abraham in Motion, and that was one of the first events that they did while here on campus.
Thanks. That was quite beautiful.
I think probably the most special moment for me was when the company returned here to Ann Arbor. I organized a master class for Kyle and several of the dancers to teach my friends who are in the musical theater and the dance programs here. They came in and gave me a hug, and that was the first time I'd seen them during their residency. And Kyle was like, we miss you, and thank you so much for everything you did. And several of the company members sort of reiterated gratitude for the work I had done over the summer. And I just felt like as an intern that was really cool to hear, like that somehow in some small way, because there's so many people working so hard for that company, that I had been able to make a difference.
Students in the performing arts have a lot of drive, a lot of ambition, a lot of passion. And they also have a lot of questions about what life is going to be like on the other side once they finish university. And so this project gives them a chance to go out into the real world and see what that's like. It's been important to me to find a way to help students in the performing arts have that kind of an opportunity. It's an opportunity I wanted when I was a student in the performing arts, and I was in exactly the same situation as Sophia. And so I'm really glad that we've been able to connect her with a resource that allows her to go more deeply into figuring out how to make her dreams a reality.
It seems like the holidays are always just around the corner. And during the holiday season, when you turn the corner here at Meadowbrook Hall, the magic of the Nutcracker Ballet is taking place before your eyes. Let's take a look.
When I was a little girl, my dad, who was with the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, played summers here at Meadowbrook Music Festival. And I was very fascinated from a very early age with mansions.
Hi, welcome to Meadowbrook Hall. We're hosting the Strolling Nutcracker Ballet, where guests will get to follow the performances from room to room. Meadowbrook Hall is a National Historic Landmark and the former residence of Matilda Dodge Wilson, who was the widow of auto pioneer John Dodge, as well as the founder of Oak University. Meadowbrook Hall is known for its 110 rooms, 88,000 square feet, and its Tudor Revival style architecture.
Well, I've always danced. I was in the Nutcracker for many, many years with the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, and we were sitting around my house one night at dinner with some colleagues, and they talked about a Nutcracker that was done in a mansion somewhere in another part of the country. And I was really intrigued, and I said, well, what do you mean it's in a mansion? And they said, well, it's in a mansion. They go from room to room as the story unfolds. And I said, so how would that be done? And one of my dance friends said, well, easy, you don't bring backdrops in, you have this setting of this grandiose home, and that was it. I think I was on the phone within a week. The choreography is, we take into consideration that the choreography is being done in a museum-type home, and there are many, many artifacts that are priceless, so we take into consideration the age of the dancer. It was a challenge navigating the first year, but we mapped it out on paper, and really dotted all our I's and crossed our T's, and it just worked.
We've accommodated different lifts for different ceiling heights. I remember last year we were doing the snow padada and we couldn't do a certain lift because if we did, we would literally be in the ceiling. So we had to change some of those lifts. I would say, in general, most of the steps haven't changed because of the venue. It would just be spacing and the way that we have to move through the space or change our facing to accommodate a different audience that is in a round versus being in a proscenium type stage.
Nutcracker is my favorite ballet, not just my favorite holiday ballet, it is my favorite by far of all of them. And mostly because of the connection with my father being in the symphony and myself dancing on stage. It was kind of a special time for me as a youngster getting to do those things where he was in the pit playing and I was on the stage dancing. So we kind of got to go to work together. So when I was growing up, you did one of two things if you were a girl. You danced or you played an instrument. Nowadays, kids can do anything. I mean, girls have the same opportunities in high school that boys do. They play sports. There's so much. So I think from that respect, it's changed. But the true genre of ballet, the discipline has not. Well, it was so funny. Last year, we had so many people that, the comments at intermission, I was walking around and kind of mingling with the crowd as just a guest, and just the comments that we heard were, isn't this amazing? This is beautiful. You feel like you're in the home of these children. It's so real. They were so excited that they were so close to the dancers. And there was even one guest that we had that every time Fritz, the mischievous brother, did anything, she would be very vocal about it. She'd go, "Oh, Fritz, he's doing it again." And I mean, she really got into the whole performance. So it was really, really interesting to see a whole different kind of an audience than when you're sitting very reserved in an auditorium.
You can learn more about the Nutcracker at Meadowbrook Hall on DetroitPerforms.org. Now, let's check out some upcoming events happening in and around Detroit. To discover more events in Greater Detroit, visit ixity.com. Up next, we'll meet the founder and director of the urban dance company Live in Color, who is on a mission to further the development of funk dance. We see how this dancing machine is getting kids moving and inspiring a love for music. Check it out.
My name is Zedric Keith Bembry, founder and director of the group Live in Color. Live in Color is a diverse dance company, and also I branched out into teaching classes. So the thing was to further the development of the urban funk dance, to keep the kids in our neighborhoods and the communities, to give them places to perform. So we're trying to provide them with opportunities and jobs within Miami.
A lot of us come from really nothing, and he'll take people off the street and help them learn things that they wouldn't have experienced living in the box that they were in. And I think that's amazing to open up kids' eyes to a whole other thing. You get to travel, you get to meet professionals, you get to be in a professional working environment. And that's awesome for people who would have never seen it, to be dragged out of that and put into like a whole new world. It's great.
I've been doing this since high school, like '89. So I had my company since. So I have nurtured dancers that's dancing for Shakira, Sierra, Missy, they left. So right now I'm just trying to basically make a new generation of kids. Because one of my students, I had a scarf on and I said, I look like Tupac, and she was like, who's Tupac? And I was like, okay. So one of my goals is for them to learn the history of hip hop through dance. And a lot of people, to me, they're taking the old soul and funk and they're using it, but they're not telling where it comes from. And the kids think it's new. No, it's not new. I could go in my house and take that record and show you that new song you think is new. They took that old song and it ran through the back. So this is why we're here now. So that's what I want to preserve. I grew up in a household with my father listening to James Brown and my aunts listening to Michael Jackson. And then when I came out, it was Curtis Blow and Sugar Hill. And I knew how to dance, and I wouldn't do it, but my mom was like, dance, dance. Like, no, not dance. So she made me dance.
Zed is passionate about what he does. He's not somebody who's just teaching you something that he just learned. Like, this has been his whole life since he was little. So he makes sure to pass on the knowledge that he has. And we're basically a family. Like, he takes care of his own, and if you're here to learn, you learn as much as you can from him.
I grew up like in Opelika, and we used to rehearse on the street, so this is a blessing. But sometimes I like to still take it to the street. It's like, it's hot. No, you're spoiled. Sweat out. I used to have to dance in front of cars, and that kind of gave me the rough edge that I have, because we had to go on the streets. A lot of kids, they're on the couch playing computers. They don't even know what it is to sweat. They don't go outside. And I want them to get that earth back, that funk and soul. So that's my goal. If anyone comes in here, I'm going to push you to the next level.
Lots of things I've done are attributed to Zed. I go places and I know how to conduct myself in an appropriate manner. Zed just teaches you so much that you can take other places.
Where the music goes, I go, or whatever I feel, I take it. I don't put a limit on what it is. So urban funk is a variety of dances pushed in one, but the main part is like the soul and the street is a platform.
And a lot of people, they'll think hip hop is just one thing. You do it looks cool, you do it looks cute, but it's really complicated. And he's taking the time to label what he does, break it down, and teach it to a whole nother generation of kids to pass on. It's awesome. You have like an edge out on people who just learn steps, whereas we learn a feeling of movement. The same structure and foundation you would learn from like a ballet conservatory or a modern conservatory, you learn here.
You might mess up, and as a choreographer and a dancer, I know that, so I'm different. So when I'm on the other side of the table, I put myself in their shoes. So that's why I'm coaching them, as well as how to audition for things as well, because I did a lot of that. And sometimes you don't know what they're looking for. They might see you walk in their door, I want her, I don't care. And that's it. Your presence through the door, that's it. So that's what I'm trying to teach too. The most work you will get is from hip hop. The most money you can get paid is from videos and performing for hip hop and R&B artists, opposed to being a technical dancer. Not that you don't need technique, because that's your foundation to grow on. But there's more jobs when you can cross over that barrier to hip hop. I think you can be employed more with hip hop than as a technical dancer. I mean, I've auditioned. I don't have no technique, but I'll wipe the floor with somebody. That's good too, but it's not also, don't let that scare you. Don't let that scare you. You go down there, most people down there stretching and doing that, they don't move. Okay, I'm looking for entertainment. I want it all. So I'm saying, if you don't have the technique, don't let that scare you, because it can be taught to you. I want to see if you can dance, okay? So we want you to dance. And if you got it both, then that's just the A+. That's when the checks come.
It's been life-changing. I don't think I would be dancing if it wasn't for Zed.
I would like all of them to get the opportunity to perform in front of like millions of people to see how that feels and get paid for it.
And that wraps it up for this edition of Detroit Performs. As always, for more arts and culture, head to DetroitPerforms.org, where you'll find featured videos, blogs, and information on upcoming arts events. Also, check us out on Facebook and Twitter. I'd like to thank Meadowbrook Hall for allowing us to tour their magnificent grounds today. Until next Tuesday, get out there and show the world how Detroit performs, y'all. I'm DJ Oliver. Thanks for watching, guys.
Funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.